Welcome, Fright Night Vault listeners. Some things aren't meant to be owned. Some things are meant to rest, buried in dust and silence. But greed, curiosity, and disbelief have a way of digging too deep. Tonight's story begins with an auction and ends with something far older than the hammer's fall. Subscribe to the vault and never walk alone again. The auction house sat on the edge of town, quiet and dim, heavy with the smell of polish and old wood. Rows of antiques waited under tired yellow lights, forgotten things that had been touched by hands long gone. Amelia Warren sat in the back row. She wasn't a collector, just a history teacher with a fascination for lost things. She wanted something with a story, something that had seen time. When the auctioneer unveiled it, the room seemed to breathe. A bronze vessel, uneven, dark, covered in marks that weren't quite letters. The surface looked burned in places, like something had tried to escape from within. The auctioneer called it Lot 197, provenance unknown. No history, no origin, no record. The bidding was brief. A few half-hearted offers, then silence. Amelia lifted her paddle, and with a single nod, it was hers. $78, a bargain, a mistake. That night, she placed the urn on her mantle. The firelight danced across the metal, but the reflections didn't move right. It was as if the light was being swallowed. She told herself it was just age, oxidation. She made tea. She fell asleep on the couch with the TV murmuring low. 2:14 a.m. The sound woke her, a soft metallic breath, a release of pressure like air escaping a sealed jar. Her eyes drifted to the mantle. The fire was down to its last embers, and in that dim orange light, something stood behind the reflection of the glass. Tall, thin, still. Watching her, she blinked, turned on the lamp. Nothing, just the urn, cold and silent. But when she looked closer, the engravings seemed different. New lines, new shapes, almost like a face. The first breath is always the beginning. Curiosity is a door. And tonight, Amelia has cracked it open. The vault is listening. The next morning came gray and heavy. Amelia woke with the uneasy feeling that she'd left something unfinished. The urn still sat on the mantle, catching what little light filtered through the curtains. Its surface looked darker now, more alive somehow. She stared at it over her coffee. The markings twisted in ways she didn't remember. There were new curves, a deeper groove spiraling near the base, faintly sharp to the touch. She told herself she'd imagined it, that she was simply tired. But as the day went on, the thought gnawed at her. What if this piece was truly ancient? She opened her laptop, typed bronze urn with unknown markings, possibly Mesopotamian. Hundreds of images appeared, none quite the same, but one grainy museum photo stopped her cold. A similar urn, same burn patterns, same twisted engravings, and beneath the image, a single line of text. Excavated from the sealed chamber of the Temple of Namaru. Do not open. Her stomach tightened. The description said the chamber was found empty, only soot, ash, and one missing artifact. She leaned closer to the screen. Another detail, a translation of one visible inscription, bound in silence, disturbed only by hunger. A chill ran through her chest. The lights flickered. Once, twice. Then the power went out completely. Her apartment fell into silence. In the reflection of the dark monitor, she saw movement, a faint, wavering shadow behind her. She turned slowly, expecting nothing, but the air behind her was different, thicker, breathing. The urn now sat on the table beside her laptop. She hadn't moved it. Its lid was slightly ajar. A thin line of soot traced down the side, pooling on the table like spilled ink. Her pulse climbed. She reached out. Just to close it, she told herself. But the metal felt warm. Too warm. A whisper rose from inside. Not words, something older, a low guttural rhythm like a voice trapped behind layers of time. She stumbled backward, knocking over her chair. The whisper followed. Soft at first, then splitting. multiplying. It was like hearing someone breathe from the walls themselves. Then, silence. Only the ticking of her clock, and the faint, steady sound of something dripping onto the floor. Amelia looked down. Black water pooling from beneath the urn. It pulsed once, and the lid shifted ever so slightly on its own. The storm rolled in by dusk. Thunder rattled the windows, and rain whispered against the glass in uneven sheets. Amelia sat in the corner of her living room, wrapped in a blanket, phone in hand, trying to convince herself to call someone. Anyone. But what would she even say? That an antique was breathing? That shadows had started following her when she wasn't moving? The power flickered again. The room dimmed to amber candlelight. The urn still sat on the table, motionless. Yet the air around it trembled like heat over asphalt. She'd covered it with a towel earlier, hoping to stop herself from looking at it. But the cloth began to rise and fall, slowly, rhythmically, like something breathing underneath. Her phone buzzed once, a notification. She glanced down. The screen was blank. No messages, just her reflection in the black glass. And behind her reflection, the shape of someone standing. She turned. Nothing. But the towel had slipped from the urn, and now the lid was gone. A smell leaked into the air, not rot, but something burnt and ancient, like scorched metal and damp earth. The sound followed, a scraping, a dragging, something heavy moving across the floorboards, though nothing was visible. The candle flame snapped sideways, as if blown by a breath from below. Her reflection in the window wavered, and then it appeared. The figure was tall, impossibly thin, the same height as the doorway behind it. Its body shimmered like smoke, trying to remember how to be solid. Hands, too long, ending in points, dragged along the wood, leaving trails of black residue that hissed like acid when they touched the floor. Where its face should have been, there was only motion. A swirl of darkness bending inward, collapsing, reforming, like a mouth trying to inhale the world. Amelia backed away, whispering, "No, no, no," over and over. But the creature tilted its head, and for the first time, she heard words. You opened the silence. The voice didn't come from its mouth. It came from everywhere. From the windows, the walls, the floor. The house itself spoke with it. She grabbed the nearest thing, a lamp, and swung. The light shattered against its body, scattering sparks that clung to its form like embers trapped in smoke. The creature didn't flinch. It only stepped closer, one slow stride at a time. Her breath stuttered. She ran for the door. It slammed shut before she touched it. Behind her, the urn began to hum, low and steady, the same pitch as her heartbeat. The room pulsed with it. Pictures fell from the walls. The floorboards swelled and cracked. When she turned back, the entity was gone. Only the empty space where it had stood. Then, a whisper at her ear. Bound in silence, disturbed by hunger. The air around her turned cold. Her breath fogged. Hands she couldn't see pressed against her shoulders. And as the thunder cracked one final time, the lights died completely. In the dark, something moved, fast, deliberate, circling her. The hum grew louder, climbing toward a roar that rattled her teeth. She tried to scream, but the sound never came. Only the silence did, and in that silence, something answered. Morning crept in quietly. No thunder now, no rain, only the gray stillness that comes after something terrible has already happened. The apartment was silent. Every clock had stopped. The air was thick, heavy with that same burnt metal smell. The urn sat in the center of the floor, blackened and cracked. Smoke drifted from the seams like breath in cold air. Around it, a perfect circle of ash. Amelia's phone lay nearby, its screen shattered. The last photo taken showed her living room, empty. But in the corner of the frame, half visible through static, was a figure. Tall, bent, watching. Neighbors said they'd heard something around midnight, furniture moving, glass breaking. a woman's voice whispering just before the storm ended. When the police came, they found no sign of her. No forced entry, no struggle, just the urn, still warm to the touch. They sealed the apartment, packed the object in evidence wrap, and when the officer signed the report, he hesitated, his hands shaking slightly as he wrote the word artifact. That night, in the evidence locker, the camera feed flickered. For a moment, the urn wasn't there. Then it was, turned slightly toward the lens, a thin line of soot running from the lid, like a smile. And somewhere, far from town, a quiet knock echoed in the dark. 3 slow taps, metal on wood, as if something new had found a door. The vault always watches. The vault always remembers. Subscribe to the vault and never walk alone again. Listen in the dark. Watch with the lights off. Some doors should never be opened. See you on the next video.